This lesson is about getting your basic settings set up. Now that you have created your SlingPlan account, one of the important things is to go in and make sure that you adjust the different settings so that the environment fits your needs better. So I'm going to walk you through all of the different parts of the main settings. These affect different parts of the system, and I'm going to go ahead and take you to those different parts of the system as I change the features so you have an idea how those settings affect those different areas. So let's start with the display settings. You can see here I have a number of different grid rows that I can indicate how many rows I actually want displayed on the screen. And so if I adjust, say the standard is being 10 when you come in here. In my case, I adjusted it to 25, but I can go ahead and adjust it to 50 here. I'm going to go ahead and save my settings. And I'll go over to my mail window now because that's the particular grid row that I adjusted. And you'll see what it's done is it's allowed for up to 50. So depending on how much mail you have, that will also reduce the number of pages that you use. So I'm going to go ahead and go back to the settings area and adjust this back down to say, let's do 20. I'm going to save my settings. So any changes that you make in the settings are immediately applied to the system. And you can see now that I have a total of 173 pages of mail because I've chosen to only display 25. So depending on the size of your screen and what's most convenient for you, the grid settings really apply to all areas, whether that be the contacts. So if I go into the basic contacts here, we'll list whatever particular number of rows that I've displayed. So let's go back to the settings. The dashboard personal panels, you'll see these continue to grow over time, and we'll continue to redo these videos as we add options to the settings tabs. But I can choose to determine how I want SlingPlan to display those panels when they open. So you can see if I go to my dashboard here, I currently have those panels open, Project Manager and Blog Manager. But I can choose to have them collapsed. So if I save those settings, and I come back down here, when the screen renders for the first time, it will keep them collapsed for you. As I adjust the settings throughout the day, if I'm continuing to use it, even after I've made this change, SlingPlan will remember. So I can go to a different part of the system, and I can come back, and it will remember that I wanted this one open. And those setting adjustments will be reflected, and each time you come in, you'll see it's changed that option. The calendar settings basically define where you are, so it's important that you ensure that you have the right time zone there. So as you receive calendar items or you send calendar items to other people, the time zone will get adjusted appropriately. That should have been a question that you answered on the setup page, but if you have moved, you'll always want to ensure that you put your proper time zone in there. The work hours define really what's displayed on the screen in the calendar. So I'm not sure if you're familiar with Outlook. You might be familiar with working hours, but that represents the yellow area here on the screen. The blue are my non-working hours, and that's what gets displayed by default. So if I go back to my settings and I adjust my working hours to 7 a.m., you will see that it has adjusted my calendar appropriately. And now my work days start at 7 a.m. So it's just a way of displaying the actual working hours on the interface. So all these different pieces of information, I can indicate what my work days are, my start and end time, and the plan and list view really defaults for what type of display I want. And there's more details about the plan and list view in the calendar section of the support system. But I can show you a little bit of the difference here. Depending on what I choose, This is the plan view, and this is the list view. So depending on what your desire is and what you want to see by default, you can choose the different type in your settings. And as you go and navigate to that area of the system, it will default to that style that you've chosen. Security settings initially are not done except for the security code when you first create your account. The security settings area is important because it allows for an additional layer of security and challenge when you need to reset your password. So although we don't necessarily require it initially, when you first come into your settings area and adjust anything, if your security settings haven't been completed, SlingPlan is going to ask you to make sure to fill in those two questions and those two answers so that you'll be able to reset your password. The Share My Calendar function allows other members who you have connected to on TeamShare to be able to see your calendar when they create an event. So if they're in an appointment and they want to know what your availability is, then they'll be able to see that if you opt to allow your calendar to be shared. And you can get more information about how that particular function works in the calendar section of the support system. The email settings here define how alerts are sent to you. If you have an SMS address as well as a mobile email, then as alerts are triggered, your options here will expand. So I can take you over there and show you that when I create a new appointment, I can define exactly how I want that alert to be sent to me. Now, if you don't fill in these options on the Settings tab, you'll only get the pop-up option. So depending on what you complete in the Settings tab and define as your available options, then those features will also enable. The blacklist quick remove, as you continue to use SlingPlan, although most mail providers do a good job of trying to ensure that the junk mail gets filtered, we've gone ahead and added an additional layer in SlingPlan that allows for you to suppress the messages from being downloaded if they are junk mail. So as I come in here and I indicate that this individual email is junk, the address associated to that email address will prevent that email from showing up in your SlingPlan account. It will actually put it into the junk mail folder, and you can choose to remove it or delete it. One of the things that we've provided on the Settings tab here is that if you want to remove an individual email address from the junk mail list and you want it to continue to flow into your email box, then you can come here, locate the particular address, and remove it. And it will not treat it as junk mail from that point on. So these are the basic system settings that initially after you create your account, you're going to want to go ahead and define so that you can adjust the environment to your particular desire. In regards to the mail account setup, there's a separate support option to be able to review and get the definition for exactly how to set up your mail account.